Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my next video lecture. Today we will study animal tissues like epithelial, connective, muscle and nervous tissues, and plant tissues, simple and compound tissues. There are four types of animal tissues: epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscle tissues, nervous tissues. What are epithelial tissues? Epithelium का मतलब होता है outer covering. These are the type of tissues that cover the outside of the body and lines the organs and cavities. It also covers the organs and the cavities which are present in our body. These include the closely packed cells. Based on number of cells and cell layer, they are further divided into five types. Like squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, ciliated epithelium, and stratified squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium include the single layer of flat cells. These are flat cells which are present in lungs, heart, blood, and these are linked with movement of materials. You can see in diagram that these are the squamous epithelial tissues. Cuboidal tissues are those tissues which include single layer of cube-shaped cells, and they are present in kidney tube, small glands, and they are involved in making secretions. Here you can see in diagram that these cells have cube shape. Columnar epithelium, these include elongated cells which are present in alimentary canal, gallbladder, and where they are responsible for making secretions again. You can see in diagram that these are elongated cells. And ciliated columnar cells, they are again elongated cells, but they have cilia, and they are present in trachea and bronchi, where they are supposed to propel the mucus which is present in trachea and bronchi. You can see the elongated cells with cilia in diagram. Stratified squamous epithelium, these include many layer of flat cells which are present in lining of esophagus, mouth and skin, where they are responsible for providing protection. You can see in the diagram that these are flat cells, but they have many layers. What are connective tissues? As their name indicates that these actually connects different type of tissues, or they bind other tissues, and they are also responsible for providing support. And the cells of these connective tissues, they are surrounded by extracellular matrix. They are present within extracellular matrix. Examples are cartilage, bone, blood, and adipose tissues. You can see here in diagram that in first diagram you can see that in cartilage, the cartilage cells are embedded in rubbery matrix, and in case of bone cells, they are present within hard matrix, and blood cells are present within the plasma, and adipose tissues you can see here the fluid droplets with a nucleus. What are muscle tissues? The muscle tissues contain long cells which have ability to contract and relax, and they are the most abundant tissues in animals. They are further divided into three types: skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles. What are skeletal muscles? Is they are present in bones. Their cells are striated and they contain many nuclei. They are involved in movement of bones. You can see in diagram that these are the skeletal muscles. And cardiac muscles are those muscles which contain smooth cells with single nuclei, and they're involved in movement of substances. They're present actually in alimentary canal, urinary bladder, and blood vessels. You can see in diagram these cardiac muscles here. What are smooth muscles? These muscles are present in walls of heart, and these cells are also striated, but they have single nucleus, and they can also produce heartbeat. You can see in diagram that these are the smooth muscles. What are nervous tissues? As their name indicates that these tissues are present in nervous system, which are directly linked with communication. The tissues are mainly composed of nerve cells and neurons. You can see the structure of neuron here in diagram that it is elongated structure which have hair-like structures which are known as dendrites, and elongated structure that is known as axon. These are involved in conducting message in the form of nerve impulse. They conduct the message in the form of nerve impulse, and the nervous tissues are obviously they must be present in brain, spinal cord, and nerves. What are plant tissues? There are two major types of plant tissues: simple tissues and compound tissues. As their name indicates, that simple tissues are those tissues which are composed of only single type of cells, while compound tissues which are composed of more than one type. These simple tissues are further divided into meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. And compound tissues are again divided into two types: xylem tissues and phloem tissues. Permanent tissues are again divided into three types: epidermal tissues, support tissues, and ground tissues. Support tissues are again divided into two types: the columnar collenchyma cells and the sclerenchyma cells. What are simple tissues? They are made up of single type of cells, and they are further divided into two types: meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. Meristematic tissues are those type of tissues which have ability to divide. They can divide. There are two types of meristematic tissues: apical meristem and lateral meristem. Apical meristem, they are present on tips of roots and shoots, where they are responsible for division, cell division, and they can increase the length of the plant on shoot and root. So, that type of growth is also known as primary growth. While lateral meristem, they are located on lateral parts of roots and shoots, where they have ability to uh, to divide. As a result, the thickness of the plant will increase. So they are responsible for increasing the width or thickness of the plant. This type of growth is known as secondary growth. What are permanent tissues? They originate from meristematic tissues, but they do not have ability to divide. So epidermal tissues are those type of tissues. They cover the whole body of the plant. In roots, they absorb water and minerals, and on stem and leaves, they secrete a type of substance known as cutin, which prevent the plant from evaporation. आपने देखा होगा कि प्लांट का जो प्लांट की जो स्टेम के ऊपर भी आपने देखा होगा कि एक कवरिंग लगी होती है ब्लेक टाइप की, जो कि एक तरह से जो है उसको एवोपरेशन से प्रिवेंट कर रहा होता है. ये पूरा जो प्लांट की जो बॉडी है उसको इसने कवर किया होता है. एंड व्हाट आर ग्राउंड टिश्यूज? They are made up of parenchyma cells, and they have primary cell wall and have large vacuole. You can see in diagram that these are the ground tissues, parenchyma. They are made up of parenchyma cells, and they have large vacuole which is responsible for storage of food. तो जहाँ जहाँ पे भी प्लांट के जो ऐसे ऑर्गन्स होंगे जहाँ पे इन्होंने स्टोरेज करना होगा, तो ये ईजिली फूड की स्टोरेज कर रहे होते हैं प्लांट्स के अंदर. What are support tissues? As their name indicates, that they can provide strength and flexibility to plant. Just like collenchyma cells, they are found in cortex of young stem, and they can also present in midribs of leaves and in petals of flowers. आपने देखा होगा जो फ्लावर के जो पेटल्स हैं या जो लीफ हैं उसके सेंटर में एक वेन आपने देखा होगा जिसको मिड रिब कहा जाता है, तो वहाँ पे ये मौजूद होते हैं वेयर दे आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग सपोर्ट. प्लांट को ये सपोर्ट प्रोवाइड कर रहे होते हैं. जिस ऑर्गन में भी ये मौजूद होंगे वहाँ पे ये सपोर्ट प्रोवाइड करेंगे. इफ़ दे आर प्रेजेंट इन पेटल्स ऑफ फ्लावर्स, तो ये फ्लावर को सपोर्ट दे रहे होंगे। इफ़ दे आर प्रेजेंट इन लीफ तो वो लीफ को सपोर्ट दे रहे होंगे। एंड व्हाट आर स्क्लेरेंकाइमा सेल्स? दे हैव रिजिड secondary cell wall and they are present in wood, जहाँ से जो प्लांट का जो वुड का पोर्शन होता है वहाँ पे ये स्क्लेरेंकाइमा सेल्स होते हैं। एंड दे कैन नॉट डिवाइड ऑब्वियसली, दे कैन नॉट इलोंगेट, दे आर एक्चुअली द डेड सेल्स। And compound tissues. Compound tissues are also known as complex tissues. And there are two types of compound tissues, जिनमें xylem tissues कहते हैं and phloem tissues. Xylem tissues, they are responsible for transport of water and as well as dissolved substances. ये roots से लेके plant की जो aerial part है वहाँ तक वाटर और डिजोल्व सब्सटेंसेस को पहुंचाने का काम करता है। इन एडिशन टू दिस दे कैन ऑल्सो प्रोवाइड सपोर्ट। उनका जो सेकेंडरी वॉल्व होता है दैट इज़ थिक, तो उस वजह से ये सपोर्ट भी प्रोवाइड कर रहे होते हैं प्लांट्स के लिए। तो इनके दो मेजर फंक्शंस हैं, एक वाटर और डिजोल्व सब्सटेंसेस को ट्रांसपोर्ट करना और दूसरा सपोर्ट प्रोवाइड करना। There are two types of cells in xylem tissues, vessel elements और cells। आप डायग्राम में देख रहे हैं कि vessel elements या cells वो एक दूसरे के साथ join हो रहे हैं, एक long tube ये बना रहे हैं, बहुत सारे long tubes बना रहे हैं, ये end to end इनकी connection हो रही है। They are known as vessel elements. And another type of cells are tracheids. These are cylinder cells which are overlapping with their ends. ये ends पे एक दूसरे के ऊपर overlap कर रहे हैं। You can see in diagram that tracheids जो है वो एक दूसरे के ऊपर overlap कर रहे हैं ends के ऊपर। यहाँ पे आपको नजर आ रहा है, this is actually, these are the ends where they can overlap. What are phloem tissues? These are again responsible for conduction of dissolved organic matter, food, and these tissues contain companion cells as well as sieve tube cells. These again contain two types of cells, sieve tube cells which are long and their end walls have small pores. यहाँ पे आपको नज़र आ रहा है, आप डायग्राम में देख लें कि sieve tube cells, these are the sieve tube cells, और इनके एंड पे जो आपको डार्क स्ट्रक्चर्स आपको नज़र आ रही है, these are actually the pores. ये इनके एंड्स पे पोर्स आपको नज़र आ रहे हैं, ये ब्लैक कलर में पोर्स नज़र आ रहे हैं। And another type is companion cells which make protein for sieve tube cells. और दूसरे उसी के साथ ही companion cells लगे हुए हैं, these are the companion cells. ये जो थोड़े से येलो कलर में आपको जो नज़र आ रहे हैं, these are the companion cells. ये sieve tube cells जो है वो सराउंडेड है कंपेनियन सेल से, और ये कंपेनियन सेल्स इनके लिए प्रोटीन्स बना रहे हैं। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर वॉचिंग माय वीडियो।